I usually don't talk about current events on this channel. This isn't a news channel. It's also not a political channel or a personal protection channel. There are plenty of those out there, and we're going to let them do their thing. This channel is about becoming a better man, becoming the man you were born to be. And part of becoming that man is understanding that we have certain responsibilities that have been given to us by God. There was an incident that happened recently that illustrates that most men today have turned away from that responsibility. And when we do that, there are consequences. And sometimes those consequences are deadly. And a recent incident in the news got my attention, not because it was shocking, although it was, but because it revealed something I think we're seeing more and more of. Men quietly stepping back from responsibility and assuming someone else will step in. And that's what I want to talk about today. Not the headlines, but the mindset. Again, before we go any further, let me be clear. This isn't about politics. It isn't about fear, and it's not about aggression. It's about responsibility. Because when responsibility disappears, it doesn't evaporate. It transfers. Someone else now has to bear the burden. And sometimes that someone else is unprepared. And sometimes it's overwhelmed institutions. And sometimes it's no one at all. Let me make one last point before I share the story. Evil walks the earth. There are bad people who do bad things to good people. That's not even debatable. If you don't believe me, just watch the first 5 minutes of the news and it will be abundantly clear. I hear so many excuses made for why so-and-so did a bad thing. And most of the time, the excuses people make to justify the actions of others is because they don't want to believe that evil is real, or that a sane person could be capable of a heinous act. Don't be fooled. The incident that I'm referring to is a shooting that occurred in Austin, Texas. Now, all the particulars aren't important to know. What is important is that this story illustrates that people, men in particular, have abdicated their responsibilities, their basic responsibility to protect themselves, their families, and their communities. In this particular incident, a man walked into a bar and began shooting. And before he was done, he had shot 17 people and killed 3 of them. The scary thing about this is that the police were literally around the corner. They were 57 seconds away. In 57 seconds, which is very fast, 17 people were shot and 3 were killed. And that's because people abdicated their responsibilities for their own protection. They saw the police there and they said, they'll protect me, I'm safe. I don't need to take any responsibility. And although the police responded very quickly, in only 57 seconds, 3 people lost their lives. And the lives of numerous others will be altered forever. And it could have been avoided. Now, I'm not trying to tell you how you should go about protecting yourself. Again, there's other channels that do that. What I am saying is that you need to take responsibility for your own safety, for your own welfare, for the safety of your families and your communities. We usually don't see such abdication so dramatically. It doesn't look like a man shouting, "I quit." It's not always a conscious decision we make that says, I'm going to let someone else handle that. I don't feel like it. I just don't care, or I'm not capable. No, it looks quieter than that. It looks like ignoring the warning signs, avoiding uncomfortable conversations, or refusing to prepare, assuming safety is automatic. Comfort convinces men they are safe without being strong. And comfort is very persuasive. Why does this happen? Because responsibility is heavy. You have to think ahead. You have to make hard decisions. You might be misunderstood. You might be called extreme. You might even stand alone. It's always easier to outsource it, to trust that systems, agencies, or culture will handle what we don't want to handle. But here's the truth. Weakness feels lighter in the moment, but it becomes crushing over time. This isn't just about physical safety either. As I said, this isn't a personal protection channel. It's about leadership. It's about moral clarity. It's about your home, your family, your community, your discipline, your finances, your convictions. When a man steps back in one area, it rarely stays contained. You see, abdication spreads, and children are watching. Maybe not your children, but someone else's children, the future leaders of this world. And kids don't become what we say, they become what we model. Now, let's be balanced. Taking responsibility does not mean living paranoid or becoming aggressive or assuming that everyone is a threat. Although, like I said, there are evil people that walk among us. And it's not about obsessing over worst case scenarios, although you should have a plan if bad things happen. And what I'm not saying is that you should live in a constant state of fear. That would be miserable. No, strong men do not live afraid, but they don't live asleep either. Responsibility looks like awareness, preparedness, physical capability, financial discipline, moral leadership in your home, willingness to have hard conversations, refusing to drift. Now, most of it happens quietly behind closed doors, without applause. But from the beginning, man was given stewardship, not domination, but stewardship. You don't control everything, but you are accountable for what is entrusted to you: your body, your home, your influence, your integrity. And stewardship requires attention. Neglect is a form of surrender. In Genesis, we read the story of Adam and Eve, and everybody tends to blame it on Eve because she's the one that took the apple. She's the one that talked to the serpent. But if you read further and if you dig down into it, you'll see that Adam was with Eve the entire time. Eve takes the apple and she gives it to Adam, and the scripture says, who was standing by her side. In other words, Adam was there for the entire conversation with the serpent. Adam sat there and listened, and Adam did nothing. Adam abdicated his responsibility. So you see, men abdicating their responsibility is not a new thing. So here's the question. Where have you quietly stepped back? Where have you assumed someone else will handle it? Maybe it's your health or your finances, or your family's direction or their safety. Maybe it's in your convictions. Again, this isn't about becoming extreme. It's about becoming responsible. Responsible for you and yours. You don't need to become louder. You need to become steadier. And look, I get it. Responsibility is heavy. It's much easier to let someone else do it. But it builds strength. Abdication feels easy, but it erodes you. And the world doesn't need more loud men. It needs more anchored men. Men who don't panic. Men who don't drift. Men who don't step back when something is entrusted to them. The world needs good men to take responsibility. The world needs good men to lead. And why can't that be you? Start small. Start quiet. But stop abdicating. Stop complaining and start leading. My name is Dennis Gill, and this is the Faith Fortitude channel. I'm going to thank you very much for watching to the end. And if you got something out of this, please consider liking and subscribing and share it with someone you think might need to hear it. And remember, faith first, fortitude always. Now let's go out and be the man that you were created to be.